All right, good evening, everybody. We'll call the meeting to order. Township Board of Perry Township. First thing on the agenda is the approval of the minutes. So Randy, would you mind reading those, please?
Chairman Dan Kirtley opened the meeting at 7:01 p.m. Secretary Honeycutt, board member Ken Banning, and trustee Dan Hollenberg were present. In addition, there were 4 members of the public who requested to speak at the meeting in attendance. The minutes for March 2026 were read by myself. A motion to approve the minutes was made by Mr. Banning and seconded by me. The second carried by unanimous voice vote. Mr. Hollenberg informed the board that the plumbing work at the Lions Club building has been completed and the water softener is now functional. He also noted the cold water to the restroom faucet was not flowing. Mr. Banning also stated that the cold water to the kitchen faucet was also not flowing. Mr. Hollenberg will follow up on this new issue. It was also noted that the easternmost entry door to the Lions Club building has been damaged to the point where it should be replaced. Mr. Hollenberg will work with the Lions Club on this issue. There was not a public hearing this month. Topics of discussion. Angie and Wade Hilton attended the meeting and asked to speak to the board about a loss of privacy in their backyard since the playground equipment has been sold. Their property is adjacent to the playground on the west side. Hilton said those using the playground equipment have a full view of the backyard, especially their hot tub. They stated a couple of the local teens have hidden in the shadows along the fence after dark to spy on the activity. The sheriff department was called to intervene. The Hiltons asked if something can be done to restore their lost privacy. The board asked a few questions and then said the matter would be looked into. A motion was made by Mr. Banning and seconded by myself to table the matter until the next meeting to allow time to research the issue. The motion passed by unanimous voice vote. JB and Mary Ellen Kane attended the meeting on behalf of the Lions Club to discuss the township financial participation in the cost of cleaning the interior of the gymnasium. Mrs. Kane stated that it's hoped the rummage sale would generate $2,500 of the approximately $7,500 to cost to clean the interior. Additionally, she stated that the cash donations for the project are expected to come in as well. Mr. Kane stated that the Lions Club Gymnasium Fund would contribute toward the cost of the cleaning. Currently, the fund has $15,477, but Mr. Kane wants to be sure the fund maintains an adequate balance for future utility costs or other necessary repairs that have already been identified. The board decided not to commit a dollar amount to this project, but to wait and see how much money is raised through the rummage sale and from cash donations for making any comment. Mrs. Kane noted that the cleaning project will begin on April 20th. Mr. Hollenberg presented the board with a bid for $1,075 from S&S Construction to install 2 windows in the Lions Club building where the wall air conditioning units are now located. In the following discussion, the board suggested, in light of other expenses that have come up, the 2 openings in the wall to be closed in to match the interior wall and the exterior wall as best as possible. Mr. Hollenberg said that he would ask the contractor to submit an alternate bid. A motion was made by Mr. Banning and seconded by myself to table the matter until the next meeting to allow time to research the issue. The motion passed by unanimous voice vote. In anticipation of filing a request with the DLGF for additional appropriations for ongoing repairs at the gym and Lions Club building, Mr. Hollenberg stated that the Parks and Recreation Fund had only $828 of unappropriated cash on hand, but that the Rainy Day Fund had $3,815 of unappropriated cash on hand. He recommended that little, if any, of the cash in the Parks and Recreation Fund be tapped into, but possibly as much as $3,500 could be made available for additional appropriations. Mr. Hollenberg said he will begin the additional appropriations process. Mr. Hollenberg told the board that the Wi-Fi project at the Lions Club building is progressing. The fiber optic cable to the building has been laid. He has not heard from NLBC on the installation of the Wi-Fi equipment. Once the equipment has been installed and tested, Mr. Hollenberg recommends that all township meetings be held at the Lions Club building going forward. Mr. Hollenberg updated the board on the town's new website project. He stated that he has completed all the tasks that were requested of him by Tyler Technology, and he's waiting for the next step, which should be the website going live. Financial report, March 2026. The beginning bank balance was $265,082.15. Receipts, $1,499.92. Disbursements, $2,944.37. The ending bank balance, $263,637.70. Outstanding transactions, $3,317.86. The ending ledger balance was $260,319.84. A motion to approve the March 2026 financial report was made by myself and seconded by Mr. Banning. The motion carried by unanimous voice vote. Mr. Hollenberg also presented the appropriations report for March. Chair Kirtley noted that the next board meeting will be April 9th, 2026. A motion to adjourn was made by Mr. Banning and seconded by myself. The motion carried a unanimous voice vote. The meeting was adjourned at 8:24 p.m.
All right, thank you, Randy. Any additions or corrections to the minutes? If not, is there a motion to approve them?
So moved.
Second.
Second. Been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. The minutes have been approved. Let's go ahead and sign them. All right, everybody get a copy back?
Yep.
Yes.
Good. All right, next item of business on the agenda is communications and announcements. Do we have any of those this evening?
Yes, it's stating the obvious, but the township board meeting beginning tonight is going to be held at the Lions Club building and Economy instead of at the firehouse. Also, the town of Economy will do likewise. Normally, they would have had their meeting yesterday, but they had some absentees, and so they moved their first meeting up here to next week on that. I've notified J.B. Kane at the Lions Club of the new schedule of this room being not available. And he noted that. He said chances are during the weekend there's never going to be a conflict or very few opportunities for conflict on that. But our situation will take precedence over any request for rental, likewise for the town.
One point along those regards, when are we going to keep the temperature in here pretty much room temperature all the time, or is it going to have to be heated and cooled for meetings?
Yeah, well, probably in the wintertime, they'll keep the thermostat what I think 50 is what we had it on this past
50,
winter,
yeah.
wasn't it?
Mhm.
So it'd come in and bump it up, and then maybe cooling, they'll have it up at 78, and if it's
Mhm.
not too warm, if it's too warm, then we can turn it down for the meeting.
Yeah.
On there, so yeah.
Yeah.
And the thermostat is not locked up, it's over there underneath one of the frames.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's readily accessible and used by anybody who's in the buildings.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the time after it's rented, somebody comes and locks the building up or anyway, so they could make sure it's been turned back down to,
Yeah,
or up or whichever direction it needs to go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
do hear on it. This one, it's got a deadbolt on it, and so you gotta come lock it. The gym, you can go out the back door and shut it. There's a note on the thermostat where to set it, and usually come down just to double check and make sure
Yeah.
it's all right.
We could do the same thing here then too. Couldn't we put a note by the door to last one out?
Yeah. Has that got new, that is the knob keyed on the bottom?
I don't think it's a double cylinder, but I haven't looked.
That's the one I got a lock to. To see. Yeah, that'll work. You just have them lock this one and somebody can come on later.
So the same key works for both of them, I guess.
The new key. Yeah, the same new key works
Yeah.
for deadbolt and lock set on both doors.
Yeah.
So you can recycle your old
Yeah.
key, do what you want with it.
Yeah.
Somebody collects keys, give it to them.
It'd be a good idea to put that sign by the thermostat so people will turn it down when they leave or turn it to whatever season it
I don't
is.
know whether, I was trying to think, some of those thermostats, when you bump them up, when you have them automatically programmed, well, then after a certain time, maybe not. Seems like we used to have one that after a while, it would come back to the programmed heat, but that might not be right. Be nice to have one like that, you know.
I don't think that was that fancy.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else, Dan, on that?
Um,
Communications or announcements?
Not under this segment. I got some other things that could go either place, but I put them down in our public meeting
Okay.
portion, so that's it.
All right. Randy or Dan, or Ken, you have anything?
Nope.
No, any announcements? Okay. We have no public hearing this month, so we'll go on to the public meeting part of the agenda. So the first thing on that is the monthly financial report.
Okay. For the month of April, we began the month with $263,637.70 in the bank. We had one deposit of $1499.92, two withdrawals for $2,517.86 to leave an ending balance of $262,619.76 in the bank. And the rest of the first page, you can see the itemization of the deposit and the two debits. Any questions on the bank statement? Next page is the bank statement reconciliation. Again, the upper left, those numbers there, if they match what's on the bank statement, then that's what should happen. That means the ledger is keeping balance with the bank. We had two checks for a total of $800 about have not cleared the bank, so the ledger balance ended up at $261,819.76. And here you can see the details of the receipts and disbursements and the outstanding checks. And again, as a reminder, I did mention a meeting or two ago that on the outstanding checks, Ben DeWitt has returned his. He was a firefighter, and he has returned his to the fire chief. And I'm still waiting to get it so I can clear it off the books. If we don't have the check, then we have to wait that 2+ years. But if I got the check, then we can take care of it right away. And, any questions on the bank statement reconciliation? Next page is the summary report of the ledger. By fund, you can see that we have a new fund showing up on the report, the Township Roads and Infrastructure Fund. There's no money in that. There won't be anything in there until ostensibly December, when we have to do something there. We began the month on the books of $260,319.84. We had one receipt for $1,499.92. No checks cleared the bank in April, to leave an ending balance of $261,819.76. And then the numbers down the lower left portion, again, recap what the bank balance is. And going all the way down the bottom, if the difference shows zero, then we are in balance with the bank and the ledger. Any questions on the summary report? Then the next few pages are the ledger report by fund. Just feel free to flip through pages. Got any questions, ask away. Again, there's only going to be one fund that has any activity, and that's going to be the Township Fund, because there are no checks written or cleared.
Pretty simple to review it.
Sure
That's
is.
the situation.
I like that.
No promises. It's always going to be that way.
Okay, any other questions on the financial report? Is there a motion to approve it?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, been moved and seconded to approve the financial report. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Financial report's been approved.
You have the handout for the monthly appropriations report for April 2026. I think you're fairly familiar with the format of this, so you can glance through, and there should not be, under the appropriations remaining this year, second from the right, if there's any brackets around any of those numbers, that means we're overdrawn on that account, but there are none, so far we're good. If you have any questions about any of the particular line items, feel free to ask. It feels a heck of a lot nicer in this room.
Smells better too.
Yeah.
Instead of smelling stale old turnout gear and boots.
And no radio to listen to.
Yeah, I'm glad that thing's not buzzing and
Mhm.
sirening and whatever it does. Anybody have any questions for Dan on the appropriations report?
No.
All right, we'll move on to topics of discussion. The neighbor's privacy screen next to the playground.
I thought I had made copies of this. I think I emailed everybody.
Yeah.
This. I think this is a good alternative to offer to the Hiletons a privacy screen. They would agree to install it. It's 6 feet high. Each roll is 50 feet long, and it would take 2 rolls to effectively run the gamut down there. And the cost for one 50-foot roll, 6 feet tall, is roughly $42 plus tax and shipping. So for about $100, we can be a good neighbor and give them something, make them feel like they're getting as much privacy back as we can reasonably do. If they feel like they need more privacy beyond that, I feel like that's going to be up to them.
Evidently they have, because the whole fence is full of vines right now, pretty much shielding the area.
Mm-hmm.
That was my recommendation when I talked to the Hiltons via email, or maybe it was text. Hiltons, that should we approve this and provide them with the screen, that they install it on their side for the prevailing winds aren't stressing the grommets and
Yeah.
the ties on that. And they thought that was a good idea too.
And that might keep the people on this side from destroying it too.
Yeah.
Hopefully,
It'd
yes.
be maybe a little less likely.
Mm-hmm.
Were they gonna mount that up themselves?
Mhm. They agreed to provide the labor.
What kind of fasteners does it require?
Tie straps that come with the
Just
kit.
zip strips?
Zip ties.
So it'll be good for about 3 years.
Sun protected high density polyethylene fabric with durable brass rollers.
And if you believe that, I've got some ocean front property for you.
Is it made so the wind will blow through it, Dan?
Yes.
All right. Well,
And I thought that after seeing this stuff, I thought, for that expense, I might buy some personally to put on the west side of the pickleball there to help with the wind there on there. So I would need your approval to go ahead and proceed.
I know we've had a little difference of opinion on what should be done there.
Well, we're not spending a great amount of money. If we were, I'd probably.
Being a good neighbor and
I guess my opinion would be for $100, it's worth the effort to try it and see what happens.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
If it was going to be more expensive, we might have to consider something else.
we talked about the slats in there was gonna be a few $100 and that was
Yeah.
getting out of place.
Yeah.
This is pretty reasonable.
Yeah.
All right. So is there a motion to do this?
I so moved.
I'll second.
All right. Been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye. Opposed, same sign. Okay, it's been approved.
okay.
All right. Next thing on there is the closing and the AC openings and replacing the entry door in the Lions Den.
Well, as you can see, we don't have air conditioners on the wall, they're on the floor. Jonas Stolfus and his partner Nathan, I can't remember Nathan's last name, they go J&N Construction. They live in economy, or at least Jonas does. And JB's used him out of his place, I've used him at my place. JB's got him scheduled to do some work down at the gymnasium too. But we got them up here. I didn't have time to go outside and look, but he said he replaced the vinyl siding as needed. On the backside, he put insulation in. And then he had this paneling, not the exact spacing, obviously, of this, but
Looks good.
it's going to look good. And we need it. I'll probably come back and paint it so it's exactly the same wall color. And Jonas did say when I talked to him this afternoon that there is an edging that we could get to go around it. We want to hide the edges a little
To
bit.
dress it up. I mean, if you do paint and it's painted, it probably will not even be seen.
So I thought for the cost altogether, that was about as economical way to go. I would have liked that windows there, but yeah, it's not necessarily worth the money. We have ample lighting coming in, but
Well, it'd just be something else that could get broke.
yeah.
Yeah.
Then today too, the other exterior door, you remember how it was damaged at the bottom?
Yeah.
They were able to find a slab and put it in. Didn't have to replace the frame, so all that was just
Good.
rehanging
The new door and the door.
and altogether, this work and the door work, materials and labor was $960. And that'll probably come out of the Parks and Recreation money. I'll have to see where which one I got the money in, either the rainy day or the Parks and Recs on that. The work down at the gym that they're going to do, JB said the Lions Club will take care of that. They continue to get more money in, he said, just trickling in from the rummage
Good.
sale. So I don't know what their total is, but I can imagine they're over 8,000. Well, when they were over 8,000, maybe they're over 9,000 now on that. So
Good.
I think the Lions Club should be commended, and particularly the ladies that put in so much time and effort to pull that off on there.
Well, they're still not done because there's a 14-foot utility trailer completely stuffed full of stuff from the auction that's going to be at the Amish auction.
So that stuff is still to be.
Yeah, that's still to be
Okay.
gone.
I think it's mostly been given to them, hasn't it? But there's a few items there that
Well, they were supposed to
will sell on
sell,
consignment.
yes, auction it off, and
Mhm.
we'll get some money from that anyway.
Keep their share and we get the rest
Get a
of
little
it.
back, yeah.
All right. Next thing is the website is live as of this week.
All right.
What's that?
That's what I see on our when we're doing our meetings. That's what I get to see, and that's what's recorded. So you've seen that before.
Yeah.
But we're gonna change it up here. I can't see the mouse. There is our website, and this format is the generic off-the-shelf one that was developed by this company for the state for government units like us who don't want to invest or have a particular need beyond just a very basic setup. And Randy, would you put these over there on top of my booklet?
Sure.
Thank you. And I should have emailed it to you early, but I will email you all the link to the website. But this blurb, I mean, I wrote most of the commentary that's in here. Just a welcoming thing. And about blurb there, and an old map from, I can't remember what year, 1847 or 74, something like that.
74 probably.
And got that from this guy who donated his map collection to Stanford University. Found it online and saw that it was.
They have that one in the surveyor's office. I've got
Did
a
they?
copy of that
Yeah.
down there. Yeah.
And since they had their name on it, I sent them an email and asked if it was public domain. They said yes. All you need to do is gift credit. So that's what that bottom footnote is there. But I think it's interesting for somebody who just likes background on Perry Township on there.
That's not the original Prairie Township.
No. The original one is talked about in the second paragraph on this page here, on the about page. And then what does that one say?
Elected officials.
Elected officials. Okay. That's just a brief description of the board members, the requirements, and your names are on there and the year you started. And seems
Was
that
the
you're-
original Perry Township much larger?
Yeah,
Somebody told
it
me that
was.
the other day. That,
Down
then other-
Township,
yeah.
and down south.
Probably
It
you
was
told me
huge.
that.
There were
Maybe
four
it will be.
townships
Maybe
that,
it will be again here in another couple of years.
Perry Township gave up land to four other townships: Clay, Dalton, Jefferson, and I think it was Green townships over the years. It wasn't all at the same time, but yeah, it was
It was a huge,
quite large, pretty much the
Yeah.
northwest part of Wayne County
Population of about 200.
for the county.
the Northwest Territory of Wayne County.
And seeing how you guys are just really super egocentric here, we can add our pictures to this page if you.
That's be a good thing to do after the first of the year when you get the new people.
And
Current
what does that one say there?
Public meetings and reports.
Okay. So the public meetings and reports, I got to update this because now we're in the Lions Club and not the firehouse there. So I've got to update this little blurb there. But these are all links to a special folder on OneDrive for Perry Township. And what's the first one here? Financial reports.
Mhm.
Yep.
So if I click this link, that takes us to that folder on OneDrive. And here I have a little program that allows me to combine PDFs. And so I take the different pages in the stapled report that I hand out to you guys and combine them because they're individual PDFs into one PDF, so they can just click April 2026 and they get the same data that you had in your financial report. And I'll just probably continue to keep them on for 12 months and then retire them as time goes by there. And then what does this one say?
Meeting agenda.
So they can, same thing there, little description, click the meeting agenda. And is that April there?
The bottom one says 3 days ago. Above it is 4.
What are
Above that is-
these labeled, one of these, let's see.
It says 2026.05.
Should be.
I can't read from here.
It doesn't say April in it. Well, it doesn't say April anywhere.
I may have to go back and relabel those because I thought I had them done by month and
I
year.
guess I was
Oh,
looking at the modified.
26.05, that's May, May of 2026. That bottom one is
Yeah.
tonight's meeting, so
Mhm.
they can double, come on, well, I just accidentally clicked the wrong one. So they can bring up the agenda as well, and I will endeavor to get the agenda on there as far ahead of the meeting as I can. Then the next one is what?
Minutes.
Minutes, okay, and then same thing here. Click the minutes. And this one is April, is it not?
Yeah, it's 04 again.
And so this will be the unsigned version. But they said they can scroll through and read, oh, it is signed. Oh, that's right, because that was April, not May. Wait a minute, no.
Yeah.
I'd have to see, maybe that's March. That could be March for all I know. I can't read from here. So all these links are available on the website. This is a shortcut to get to the YouTube channel. And so there's the choice of the meetings. And this is the one in progress there, and the one on the left. So I guess they could join live, for all I know, on that. And again, after 90 days, or anytime after 90 up to 120, I delete the oldest meeting. And the last thing is what?
Other reports on Gateway.
Okay. This link allows the user to access like the annual financial report, the 100R, the budget, and things of that nature. By going into Gateway themselves. There's a public site of Gateway, and search by unit. I give these instructions on that page to click search by unit, and then if I type in Perry, then it lists all the government units that have the word Perry in it.
All the
And you
Perry
scroll-
Townships.
And you scroll down the bottom of the list of townships, and there's Perry Township, Wayne County. And now these are all reports that are specific to Perry Township of Wayne County. And so they can view anything they like. Now, some of the reports we're not required to file, but they, for some reason, they pop up here. Like well, put it this way, we have no debt, so there's no report under the definition of debt there. So that does pretty well. And let's see. Boom. And then, yeah, that was the last one.
Yep.
Then was that
Recreation.
okay? And you got 4 tabs under recreation, parks, Lions Club Den, the gym, and Cardinal Greenway. and a little bit of blurb about that. I'll update that picture once the good weather and the trees are filled out, so it looks nice. We take a picture of the playground equipment with all the people in it. Ken, you're in there. Your grandkids are in there. In that picture there. And a little blurb about how the park came to be as far as the playground equipment is concerned. And the Lions Club Den. And in here, the very bottom line there that it's available for rent, and contact Economy Lions Club to rent that.
You'll have to put this Wi-Fi in there now too. Wi-Fi is available.
I've got that on the park.
Okay.
And I didn't give any password on there. Somewhere in there says Wi-Fi. Then on the Economy Gym, I probably need to come back and maybe put a couple interior pictures in there as well, but I had that one readily available. And again, it's available for rent. Contact the Lions Club. And then the Cardinal Greenway, a little blurb there. And, picture I got from the Cardinal Greenway to use. And I just thought, this little chart might be handy for some folks just to promote the drive there. But this link here will allow the user to go to the Cardinal Greenway website, and there's an interactive map, and you can get additional information about different parts of the trail. And so this is the economy run, isn't it? Where is it? There's economy. So right there. And anyhow, it's gives them an opportunity to go to the Cardinal Greenway site there and contact us. The ubiquitous thing that all websites have on that there. And this is supposed to take us back home, and sometimes it doesn't work. Let's see what happened. Yep, got us back to home. Now these what does that one say? Wait a minute, we just
Financial
we
reports.
looked at all those.
okay. Those are other links that you don't have to go to the reports tab to get to. And there's also a calendar down here, and my plans on the calendar is to promote, of course, our meeting dates, the Town of Economy's meeting dates, the Lions Club meeting dates. If the Methodist Church has a function for the public, like if they have a dinner open to the public, I would like to get that on there. If the fire department has a fundraiser, put that on there. The town, what does the town call their parade day?
Economy days, isn't it?
Economy days.
Or not?
Yeah.
And so this calendar, it's probably the biggest responsibility I have to keep up. That's going to be a little more cumbersome than doing the reports and all, but you can work ahead on that as far as necessary. So again, these are all elements that come in the basic design package. These don't have to stay this way because we do have them on here, but they seem to think it was unreasonable to put those on there, so we stuck
It
them.
makes it easier for people to find it if that's what they're particularly looking for.
These pictures aren't hard to change. That's one Paula took. Told her, said, go find a nice picture of farmland around. It has some interesting, and that's somewhere off of Sugar Grove Road, I think she said on there. So that's our website.
Nice.
Yeah, that's
And
really
it
good.
Looks good.
didn't cost us a dime.
Nice job.
So go back to that. And I will get the newspaper to publicize the website as well. I'll probably stick it up in the post office window along with the town's information up there, and just to generate opportunities. Ken, if you think it's important to have the cemetery board's meetings on here, we can stick those on there too.
No.
So
We're just
anyhow,
dying to come to those.
Yeah, right.
yeah, they are. So that's the website, and technically it went live on Wednesday, Tuesday, I think it was. And even though it's now falls on the laps of the township to keep it up, we are allowed to get help 4 times a month at no charge. If it's something I can't do or figure out and all, but the stuff that you see on there, I've done a lot of tweaking already on my own once I learned how to navigate through the bill portion and do it. So it's not difficult. Town of Economy, or excuse me, Harrison Township, Jamie Fagan down there got wind of me doing this, and I explained to him that it's free and blah, blah, blah. And so he jumped on, so they're getting one for him.
Good.
Maybe Lance will do that for Dalton Township as long as they're around.
What's the website address for that?
Okay, the website address is, if you want the full address, https www.in.gov/townships /Perry 89 /. But I think if you put in Perry, and you could type this as words, Perry Township 89 in a search bar, I think it would take you to Access Indiana, and you can get it from there.
Could you navigate your way through it to go into the indiana.gov website?
I haven't tried yet. Didn't think about that, but you should. You should be able to, because it is a state-sponsored website.
Sometimes that's a little cumbersome because there's so much stuff on there, but I just wondered if you tried that.
But this has been kind of a, I won't say dream, but something I've wanted to do for several years, and thought it was going to be up to me to build a website. Try to talk Jennifer Banning into it one time. She was too busy with babies. And excuse me, Jennifer Ghost.
Looks like you've done a really nice job with that. So.
I'm pleased with it.
Thank
Again,
you.
it's a template that they said, here's your template. Tell us what you'd like to have in this template. And they're very accommodating and very helpful. The color scheme is default color scheme. I didn't see any reason to have any particular colors. I had nothing. There's only so much cardinal red you can have. But looks good on that. All right. So that's the website.
Okay.
Is there a traffic counter?
You know, there may be. I didn't think about that.
Be interesting.
Yeah, that would be. That would be. I will email all of you the link, and you can save it to your favorites bar. Just so you can keep up with it. Yeah, so. Any questions on the website?
Nope.
What kind of photos do you have to have in order to put them on there? Thinking about the alumni dinner.
Yeah.
If you want to put some of the parade, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, we can have figure out how to have after the fact photos you're talking about. Yeah. I'm certain it can be done. I'll have to figure out how to do that. I might be using one of my 4 freeze each month to figure out that, but that's something I never thought about, Randy.
Suppose somebody takes a picture with their phone, I mean, send you the picture. And then
I'd have to, it's best if it's emailed to me. I have yet to be able to get my phone to download photos to my computers.
You can email them to myself. You know.
Yeah.
And then something on my phone, you know, that
and I have a way where I'll do a screenshot. I'll bring the photo up in Word or PowerPoint or something and crop it and save it as a JPEG typically, and that really scales down the size, the file size. So it's saved a lot of space on there. Good question, Randy.
Okay. Next item on the agenda is the revised internal controls document for review.
We're not going to go through all of this tonight. This is homework. And you probably have a older copy that's almost identical to this, but there may be some differences. So if you have any older copies, discard them on there. But you recall in 2016, for those of you who were not around then, the state required that every government unit adopt what's called internal controls. And so you can see on June 9th, 2016, Perry Township adopted its initial internal control document, and we've been using that. Technically, it's still in effect right now. And over the years, I've learned how deficient that internal control document is in being a truly effective outline of how we should be doing business as a township. And so I endeavored to make changes, and the biggest change that I made was if you get down to page 7. Beginning on page 7, I have policy. So internal control policy. Policy number 1, number 2, and so on. I can't remember what our count went to. Policy 12. And I broke down our functions by category, or not category, but by a particular function, like the financial report, check writing, so on. And so I just addressed how we should approach each of those as an individual policy, just to make it easier, if we have to change something or whatever. One thing that I just couldn't get my mind wrapped around, Dan had requested when I handed this out several months ago. He said, I'm a visual person. I like the flow chart. Well, I tried to look at a flow chart and for all of it, and it just my mind just got bogged down. Okay. So I figured Dan's not going to be here next year.
That's
so,
right.
Which brings up a point. How many of you noticed that my name wasn't on the ballot? I forgot to finish my application for that, but I'll be on the ballot in November. Screwed up. So what I'd like
warmed up this year.
Thought maybe he changed his mind.
Hey, I thought about it. So what I'd like you to do between now and next meeting is to just go through and, circle notes or whatever you want to do to ask questions at next meeting about, why did we do this, or this doesn't seem to be right. Why didn't you include this, or whatever it is that may come across your mind. You may not have any suggestions for changes or improvements to this, but I do want to note that policy number 10 and 11 deal with the fire department. And in the contract that we have with the volunteer fire department, I specify policy that they will follow policy 10, policy 11 in there, and provided it in the contract, even though it wasn't approved yet, just so they have an understanding of what's going to be required if they come up missing piece of equipment, either by theft, loss, damage, whatever, what to do. And then likewise, monies. Since we are providing them in this current contract $15,000, they has to be accountable down to the penny, because we're accountable to the state for everything to the penny as well. And you can see there on policy 11, under management, item 2, the reporting threshold for missing funds is $1. So I originally struggled with that. I thought $10, $25. I thought, well, no, I got to be accountable for this, so they can be accountable for it too.
Yep.
On there. So, okay. And if you think there's some aspect of township government that isn't addressed in that would be particularly important to bring up on that. The other pages that are preceding the policies and following the policies, if you have your old copy handy, you can compare Appendix 1, which is page 4, 5, and 6, to see what changes I made to it there to make it more fitting with our particular government unit and so on. So this does not, what I've learned in my time on the Advisory Plan Commission for the county, that something that's been adopted, you don't necessarily unadopted, you revise it. So you can see down here, if this gets, the revisions get adopted, the original adoption dates there, and then the revised dates are there. So, okay. Any questions on what I'm asking?
Do some homework.
I'm sorry.
Do some homework.
Yeah.
Next item on the agenda, 2027 budget preliminary discussion.
All right. One of our internal controls, the new one, deals with the budget process, and in there, it's number 9, and in there under management, at the Township Board's regularly scheduled meeting in May, the trustee and the board shall review the current year's budget and discuss budgetary needs that may need to be considered for the next budget. So that's what we are doing here, even though this isn't policy yet. I figured no harm in doing this. So this document's two-sided. This is Form 1 is the state's name for this particular form, which shows your line item budgets by line item. And for example, the township's always going to have the most line items, but the first one up there, personal services, salaries and wages, trustee salary, 5,100, so on and so on. So this, again, this is 2026. Very little of the entire budget will change from year to year, with the one exception of the rainy day fund. That will vary from budget to budget. There will be some tweaks in dollar amounts possibly in the firefighting fund, but I haven't made any significant changes in the township line items, Parks and Recreation line items, and the township assistant line items, and the cumulative fund line items in several years, but have tweaked the fire departments and the rainy day fund as needed. So the one thing in the township fund that seems to always be behind is the insurance, because I don't have our insurance meeting to know what they're going to be proposing for the following year until September. And the budget has already been approved by then.
What's our history? I guess I could go back and look, but what's our history from year to year? How much does that increase?
The insurance?
Yes.
I used to be, for several years, I budgeted $20,000 and then just crept and crept. I think last year, 2024 or 2025, I had $22,000. So I bumped it up to by $1,500.
Our actual bill then, how much has it gone up from year to year?
Until we got above 20,000, I had always budgeted, was able to budget more than what it was, but it wasn't much more, like a few $100s. But then I got the jump over and it kept pushing 2,200. So maybe 1,500
on an average for a year.
Yeah, it's kind of a rough guesstimate on that. And
so you should probably bump that up to 25,000.
Yeah, that would probably be the thing. But then we're handcuffed sometimes because the state comes back and says, here's the maximum property tax levy you can have for firefighting. Here's the maximum property tax levy you can have for civil needs. The township fund, Parks and Recreation, township assistance, and just those three fall under the civil. And last year, I think it was like $22,500 was the max that we could raise to distribute between those three funds. That's not the budget, but that's how much property tax money we can raise. And the township fund then also gets that, like on this financial report, $1,499.92. That goes into the township fund. That's the local income tax that comes back to the township. So we're limited.
So even though we would need that much money there, if we jack it up
Too much.
then it takes it away from
Takes
other
away from
places.
some other line items. Yeah,
I see. Okay.
it's a balancing act that sometimes it's going to get to the point where it's going to be hard to balance.
Yeah, it seems more complicated than it should be.
And we can ask for additional levy, but I think under the current climate, well, if you need that much, maybe we need to consolidate you with another person to get rid of some management or something like that. It's one of those things. So, which probably will come regardless. So yes, I agree with you, Dan. And I've got a call in with the Capstone Insurance Group to see if they have an idea how much things might increase in September. They may not at this early stage yet, but I haven't heard back from my two contacts there yet on that. One of the fudge wiggle areas has been the legal services, $1,000. I avoid using attorneys whenever you can. I think we've only had one or two situations in my tenure where we really needed outside legal counsel on a matter. And we spent maybe 1 year $400 on that and so on. So I put it in there every year because you never know, but that's something that we have dipped to. If you recall, last year in particular, we reallocated some or all of that $1,000 to another line item in the township fund to cover some needed things on there. So the only thing that's not accurate on this is in the township fund is the very last one. I'm not sorry, not the last one. Where is it? Oh, that's Parks and Recreation, excuse me. In the Parks and Recreation, the last one in Parks and Rec, the Wi-Fi service, there's nothing budgeted this year. I've still got to get my act together to get the additional appropriations set up. So, because we're going to be getting a monthly bill for the Wi-Fi, $109. And that $3,300 the town gave us that was left over from the playground stuff. We carry us through for quite a while. But after that, then it's going to fall on us, and that's going to be stretching the dollar even more on that. So township assistance, that hasn't changed in quite a while.
Say that there's a particularly bad winter and your township assistance for fuel and utilities and stuff goes up and you exhaust what's here. The deficit has to come from somewhere else, right? Another one of these funds.
The only other fund it can come from is the township general.
Okay.
Monies in the township general fund can be spent on anything with your approval.
Okay.
If we don't have enough money there, then my understanding from Gary many years ago, and I need to get this clarified, is we have to borrow the money. Which means then we got to have a line item to pay back what we borrowed. And so.
Okay. I was thinking it's the cost of
yes, it's
petroleum and that. I mean, it's who knows what it's going to be. And, you can't tell people, I'm sorry, we don't have any money.
Although I know trustees who do that.
We're obligated to help if we can, I guess. Okay.
It's a big concern since the heating oil has gone up and LP both.
I don't believe we had any township assistance this month, did we?
No. My last request was in March, I believe. I have an outstanding application right now, but she has not gotten it back to me. It'd be a repeat request. And depending on, what's on her application, I'm not looking favorably at it. because she's not taking the steps to help herself, in my mind. On the firefighting, again, I think I'm going with $60,000 budgeted for quite a while on that. And one of the changes that on the line items has been how much is in the firefighting contract with the volunteers. So we got that down to 15,000.
Now, a lot of that insurance that we pay for goes,
For almost all of it goes to cover.
yeah.
For the longest time,
So
we
is-
paid that out of the
That's
firefighting.
what I was gonna ask. Does
But
that make sense?
I learned at one of our state called meetings that
Can't
no,
You're not supposed
that
to
has
do
to
that.
come out of the township general fund.
Okay,
And at that time, that's when I started putting in the local income tax into the township general, just for that reason.
Mhm.
Um,
okay. Well, it seems like it makes sense that since that's what the insurance is for,
yeah,
that you could take it out of there, but I
Sure
guess
does.
that's not the rule.
no, it's not. It has to be for firefighting expenses.
Okay,
Just like township assistance, money, direct assistance, it has to be for direct assistance. It can't be to, I mean, you can put a budget in for other things like if you have a staff that goes out and investigates these things and all, you have to have that. But under the direct assistance, that's strictly to pay somebody's bill.
okay.
The cumulative fire fund, that has stayed steady at $30,000. Budget that simply to, in case we have to draw upon it, then we don't have to do additional appropriations. On there, it's kind of taking the easy way out, so to speak, but it works that way. The rainy day fund, some townships in the bigger populations can provide funding from tax dollars and all for the rainy day fund, but we don't have that ability. We just don't have enough revenue coming in for that. So the only way the rainy day fund gets funded is on that 10% annual transfer that we can do. And that 10% can be spread out over any fund except your township assistance. You can't take anything out of township assistance. But everything else can be tapped into to meet that 10%, or you can take all 10% out of one fund, or up to 10%, but that has to be 10%. So in the past couple of years that I've done this, I transferred the 10% out of the firefighting fund. That's the only fund that we have excess money, and it's not a lot, but that just continues to drain that a little bit. But it gets built back up if we are watching our P's and Q's on spending on the monies out of the firefighting fund. So it can be tough. It's a juggling act at times. Payroll withholding fund, that is strictly a pass-through account, money out of the township general fund that was withheld for payroll taxes, as well as the matching Social Security and Medicare fund. That's out of the township general, gets transferred over to payroll withholding, and then sits there until I write a check to the federal government or the state of Indiana to pay payroll taxes.
Okay, now, are you gonna have to create a new fund for that, infrastructure? or whatever that thing is?
I don't know why it's not showing up here on this particular, well, yeah, I know why it's not showing up here, because I didn't have one. It wasn't in the budget for this year. So,
Right, okay,
but you saw it's on the ledger.
yeah.
On that. So next year, yeah, I'll have to have that in there. And I don't know how much it's going to be, because I don't know how much we're going to have to transfer at the end of the year.
Right.
And so I probably need to talk to my DLGF representative to find out just exactly how I handle that first year.
Sure.
On that.
Mm-hmm.
On that. So also homework, just look this over, and like questions that Dan came up with, you had, Randy had, and just if you think of anything else you want to ask, next meeting will be the time
Okay.
to do that. And by next meeting, according to our policy number nine, At the Township Board's regularly scheduled meeting in June, the trustee and the board shall review and discuss the first draft on the proposed budget for the next budget year. So in our June meeting, I will have this for 2027. And that's where we can talk about, can we cut back here? Can we beat this up there? And so on and so on. But again, we're under the handcuff is I don't know how much our civil levy is going to be. The fire levy is not so much a problem. But for the civil levy, we're splitting that between three funds on property taxes. And Parks and Recreation and Township Assistance have no other revenue other than from that civil levy. So if the Township Fund happens to be a little healthier than normal, which it hasn't been lately, then we can put less of that levy into the Township General and put more into the Township Assistance if needed, or Parks and Recreation if needed. So it's just how many ways can we split the pie, and split a pie, we don't know how big it's going to be. So, so if anybody wants to be trustee, please step forward on that. So any questions about your two homework assignments?
No.
Okay. Something else crossed my mind. It's not on the agenda here. Okay, your passcode worked for the Wi-Fi on your phone, and of course you had it, and so I sent you the copy of that there. Again, I will email website address to board. Okay. All right. Does anybody have anything to ask of me about anything?
I have a curiosity question. Since the township has a fire department, are we required in any way to have a tornado warning siren?
Do not know. That'd be a question for Brett, I would guess. Oh, that was the other thing I wanted to mention. Change in leadership at the fire department. Chief Greg Moore resigned, and the department voted Brett Leland as fire chief. He was the assistant fire chief. And who's the assistant now? Do you know?
No, I don't.
No.
I was just wondering, I don't know if the siren works or not, but that was part of the way things work. Whenever there's a tornado warning, that siren will be sounded, and then the trucks would go out to various locations to be outside of town so they could work their way in. So
I know I have heard the emergency vehicles on the road with their sirens on occasion. But as far as the one in town, at least I assumed it wasn't that one. But I'll check with Brent.
well, the county is going to the 800 megahertz system, so you can't hear what's going on with the fire departments like you used to be able to with your scanner or with the radio. So you're totally in the dark.
Particularly if the power goes out.
Yeah, I should hope for your radio's got a battery in it, but maybe it doesn't.
Or if you're like Banning Road, we all have generators.
I don't have that long an extension cord. But that's something that's public safety. I understand several of the firemen quit.
Recently,
Yeah,
I knew a couple did. I don't know how many altogether.
well, I may be past times as the bishop told them they couldn't participate for certain reasons, so they couldn't do it.
Yes, there was something that came up, and it was something that was at odds with their congregation, wasn't it?
I don't know how they could have a problem with people participating in public safety, but evidently they do.
There was some issue that, yeah, they had to read. I do remember that, but don't know the details.
So I don't know what our roster looks like now for,
I'm looking at my screen here. I think maybe we ought to get a sign that we can hang up back here. It says Perry Township Board Meeting or something like that. So
People know
people
what
think
it
we're the
is.
Lions Club.
Yeah, be all right. Okay. Any other questions or comments from anybody?
Not here.
not here.
All right, our next meeting is Thursday, June the 11th at 7 PM here at the Lions Club building. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, meeting's adjourned.